It's the Dadnarok After Show. Now, here's Chris and Sean.
Welcome back once again to the Dadnarok After Show. This is Sean.
And this is Chris, and I'm the reason of all the scheduling issues.
You sure are. Boy, yeah, it's Tuesday, July the 23rd, except it's not. It's actually Monday, July the 22nd. And we're here a day early to talk about House of the Dragon, episode 6, titled Smallfolk.
There we go. Well, if you small folk are watching our channel, go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We are fully interactive, no paywall. You make a comment, we'll bring it up, and we'll talk about it. And we love the interaction because you guys correct us because we're dumbasses.
Yeah, please interact. Please just talk to us. We're so lonely. Please talk to us.
Okay, so Smallfolk was this week's episode. I typically ask you what your first opinion on this was. I'm going to lead this week, if you don't mind.
Okay.
I'm getting worried.
What?
To me, this was another slow burn. I mean, I wanted to pick up my phone, just like just kind of disinterested. I feel like they stretched material that could have been a half hour into an hour.
Yeah.
It was just I feel like they're running thin on material. And I don't know if it's because they're trying to stretch this to 8 episodes so they have enough for what we know is coming a third season, or what the plan truly is. Now, there was some big, events that took place in this, but as a whole, it was another one of those. This one just didn't hit for me either.
I second that. Actually, I agree with that. It was not as much of a well, it's probably on par as far as how last week felt, as far as not being very active plot wise. Yeah, I felt what I came away with at the end of this episode, I was like, wow, those first like 3 episodes of this show were
phenomenal.
Yeah, and they were packed with stuff going on. And then it seems like the last few episodes, ever since that big battle where Rhaenyra died.
Yeah, at Rook's Rest, that since that battle there, we haven't had. It's been all kind of filler.
Just slow placement of things, which that's okay for an episode, but once you start getting to a couple episodes in a row doing that, and you're heading towards a finale, I'm like, oh, okay, well, come on.
All we have is 8 episodes, and granted, they're 8-hour-long episodes. They're not 8 30-minute episodes.
Yeah,
but you can't give us 2 hours of filler material.
Right.
For the lack of calling. I mean, like I said, there was some big things that took place trying to find a new writer for Seasmoke, that he became a Human Torch, just little things like that. But I mean,
did he slice his own neck, or was that one of the handlers?
That was one of the handlers.
Oh, I see.
I'm fairly certain that was one of the handlers. That's how I interpret it. Because I don't think
that's what
he was
figured.
panicking.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they probably train themselves to do that. Like if this ever happens, just end your misery.
Yeah, because you're not going to survive. Just go ahead and just finish it.
Right. It did look like Mortal Kombat. Yeah, so there's a few things that happened, right? It starts off with the Lannisters, which was kind of a weird way. It's the twin Lannister that's actually over there at Casterly Rock and the west side of Westeros. They're marching with his men, and he was meeting up with 500 other men, and the leader of that men wasn't too happy because it looks like they were just going to chill out and wait for
eat their food and wait. Yeah, and he had the nerve to send Aegon a message saying, "You come now." He was like, bullshit.
Yeah, you don't summon me.
Who do you think you are summoning me? That was cool though, because that's the Lannister way.
I'm the Prince Regent.
Yeah. Everyone marches to their tune. That's what we're used to. So it was cool to see that arrogance come from them.
Yeah, but then you had to see his twin that's actually on the council just be like, sorry, I don't know, sorry.
Yeah, he was tucking tails. Like, did he do that? Did he know the position he just put me in? This
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't think those brothers like each other very much.
Oh yeah, it really doesn't matter. I mean, you think one of them is sitting at King's Landing, and one is marching on a horse. I would be a little resentful of the one sitting and feasting every night.
But that was interesting just to show. I mean, really, this episode just showed a lot of Aemond's power grab, right? Like
Yeah.
he's kind of, you know what he reminded me of? He was delivering his lines, and I'm like, he sounds like a young Tarkin. Like this dude that plays Aemond could play
Oh,
like
that's
prequel
funny.
Tarkin. Just the way he was very, his voice was somewhat up here, but still very elegant and regal. And I was just like, that boy sounds like Tarkin.
He's deliberate. I like when
Yeah,
he speaks, he doesn't question what he's. I mean, they don't want you to like these characters. And once again, I said this earlier. It's like there are so many layers. Like you don't know who's the good guys and who's the bad guys. You know who they want you to think is the good guys and the bad guys.
right.
But will that flip come next season? You know what I mean? You never truly know what's going on. And the fact that, he's sitting there and he feels regal. He feels the part. His stature, he holds himself, he carries himself like a king would. I mean, he's a scummy king, you know what I mean? Like regent, but
Yeah.
they listen to him when he talks.
Right. Well, he's got a mean streak. I mean, he's kind of like, the dude you don't want to piss off in the room. And he's somewhat sadistic and he's a little bit cruel. And he's just kind of showing those threads right now. And he's still kind of young. So, without bumpers and with him getting older and even more jaded, I mean, he'd be kind of a bad
Well,
king, I
what do you
think.
think of the comment where Clubfoot was trying to work his way into a hand, be his hand, and he basically told him to call on his uncle Otto? That's interesting because
Yeah.
Otto is going to rein him in more than he knows he's going to rein him in.
Yeah, I did wonder about that. But I also wonder if maybe I can't remember if we get an inkling of what his relationship is like with Otto. If if Otto was only really trying to completely rein Aegon in the whole time because Aegon was Aegon, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he may have admired his grandfather that whole time. I don't know, but
Yeah, there wasn't.
it,
Yeah, I don't think we got a whole lot of like dimension between those two because it was always Otto and Aemon or Otto and Allison. We never
it'll,
really
it,
seen Otto and Aegon.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see Otto come back for sure. Hopefully that does happen. I would like to see the character a little bit more. He's missing apparently though. I guess because
Why?
Allison.
I think he's one of those characters that can just vanish in the wind. You know, there
Yeah,
are those characters in this world that if they want to be gone, they're going to be
right.
gone, and they're going to pop back up when they want to be found. Because, like you said, Allison was looking for him. Her
Mm-hmm.
brother never hears from him,
Yeah,
and they've been trying to send ravens all over the place to find him, and he's just not responding.
yeah, that's interesting. I wonder what's going on with him. They're
Didn't the
definitely
Grand
setting up
Master say
something.
something to the extent of like he'll be found when he wants to be found, or someone on the council said something to that extent?
Yeah. Who else? We got to see Allison's brother a little bit before they rode off with Christian Cole. I guess they're gonna go out, ride out, get they left King's Landing a
They're going to
little too
Harrenhal,
quick.
aren't they?
Oh yeah, I guess they are finally.
I
They were
think
supposed to
they're
be going
heading
to
to
Harrenhal 3 episodes ago.
Yeah, I think they're heading to Harrenhal, but I really truly liked the interaction between Allison and her brother. It was
Yeah,
a
me too.
real human interaction, asking about her
Well,
son that they left behind.
it felt like a
Uh,
final interaction to me.
yeah, no, yeah, that was probably you probably hit that on the head. I didn't think of it at the time, but
Yeah.
she was learning about her son, the one she left behind, that is actually becoming a good, caring person.
Yeah.
And he made a joke like, "Yeah, I guess King's Landing isn't a place to raise sons."
Yeah. Yeah, that he's turning out actually kind because he's growing up away from this dreadful
Yeah,
place. Um, yeah, so well, speaking of Allison, she was kicked out of the small council by Aemond, just not having her anymore.
that was the way he did it. And just sitting there and just cold, mother, you stick behind. What are you doing? What's your purpose here?
Hmm.
You served. Your purpose has been served. There's no need for you to be here.
Yeah.
And I think he's looking at it as both almost a blessing, like relieving her of the stress. But she's looking at I'm being cut out of decision making.
Oh, I didn't get that. I got that he was intentionally um trying to piss her off, or like I feel like he knows that this is not what she wants. Like, because he even makes a point to be like, so you could, chase other domestic interests or issue or
Yeah.
whatever, and like domestic, as though like go bake some pies or something. Like,
Yeah, no, there was that line. Yeah, no, I may have misread that, but I
it
feel
felt
like
very much like he was really just kind of like dismissing her, like, well, the thing is, the words he used, it was like as though he's being kind, but just the way he said it, and you just get a
it's the
feeling that he
sliminess
knows.
underneath it.
Yeah, that he knows that she's gonna be devastated by not being on this council.
Yeah, because now she's completely out of it. Otto's gone. Aegon is holding on for whatever,
Yeah.
whatever,
Hold on,
whatever that's worth.
Aegon. What about, yeah, how do you feel about that he's able to talk a little bit?
I don't like it. I mean, I you had one person die that didn't
Uh-huh.
get fall from essentially the same height,
Yeah.
and one person get baked and still fall and live. I just I have this a little issue with that. I don't know. I don't think he's long for the world because I think Aegon's gonna kill him.
Yeah.
I almost thought that was gonna happen this episode when he walked in a couple times and he was by himself when he told the Grey Maester that he has a long recovery on his hands. And
Mhm.
then the conversation. I don't even know if it's gonna be Aemon or Aegon that does it. It may be Laris who does it after that conversation they had side by side when he was explaining to him his foot and how he will never be the same after this, and people are always going to look down on him. So it's like I don't know.
Oh,
They're
you think?
telling us someone's going to kill him.
Well, I don't know why Laris would tell him all these things. It's almost as though he was trying to help him, or just give him a little bit of a window into what life is going to be like. But maybe, who knows, maybe he knows that Aemond would, or Aegon wouldn't take that news very well and want to just off himself anyway, because he did say after that whole conversation, Aegon just says help me, which you could take that either way. Like, help you how? Like, help you get through this, help you end your suffering? Like, what do you mean
Yeah.
help you?
Well, he didn't want to give him that medication drink because he said it weakens your mind.
Yeah,
You have to
right.
be sharp. So that whole conversation had so many different dynamics to it. It's like you don't
Yeah,
know if he's trying to build him up, make him strong. You don't know if he's gonna off him, or if
yeah,
he's telling him you may want to off yourself because no one's gonna ever look at you the same way again. And you're
right.
always gonna be the king that survived Dragonfire.
Yeah, you're the king, baby. I'm trying to think of anything else in the King's Landing area here that's worth. Oh, well,
Oh,
there's the whole like
the sending
famine.
of aid.
Yeah.
That was crazy. That was pretty cool when was it Rhaenyra and Mysaria
Yeah.
were saying she's like, you know what? She said put her plan into action.
Yeah. We're gonna send a gift.
And that one boat shows up and it's got the Targaryen flag on it. And he's looking he doesn't know what to do. I wouldn't know
Yeah.
what to do. It's like, okay, I want to take as much as I can, but people are going to notice it immediately, and then they're going to
Just
be
start
coming after
eating it right
me.
there. Just start eating it. Fill your belly up right then.
It's like, what do I do? You're in panic mode. I seen the panic in his eyes,
Yeah, that was
which
a good scene.
was awesome. And then they had him look up, and there was more coming in.
Right.
And it's like she sent aid. She dropped aid into King's Landing to go ahead and buy, goodwill. And I love the actually convincing the little people, the small
Yeah.
folk,
The small folk. Yeah.
of what's going on, and everyone else is overseeing them, and she's looking out for them still.
Yeah. But it is interesting because it's like if it weren't for her, they would have food anyway. So you know what
Yeah, the
she's like.
blockade. Yeah, the sea snake's blockade is what's preventing food from getting actually into the city.
Right, so she's just kind of, like, depriving them and then giving them a little taste, almost like a drug dealer or something. Really, this and I think this move isn't meant. Well, I mean, with Mysaria, she does care about the small folk, so maybe there's a little bit of that intent in there, but I think the real intent is to cause the commotion that it causes. I mean,
Oh yeah, no, you're building because they said they want to see smoke over King's Landing, black
yeah,
clouds over King's Landing. They
right.
want this to actually cause an uproar, a riot, fires,
Yeah.
They want that's the response they want out of it. They didn't quite get that, or they didn't quite show it to us. And the scale. This is the first time I think the scale failed them, because they
Mhm.
have the actual riots that are taking place at the Red Keep. And when Allison and the princess, they got her name on here somewhere, Helena, are
Mhm.
running out basically for their lives, when they zoom back, it looks like 10 people.
Yeah, it felt like a set.
Yeah, it
There's
felt
not often where this show feels like you're on a set, if ever, honestly. But yeah, I could see the strings being pulled there.
yeah,
It
the
was
riots in
not
the
great.
streets felt small once you
Yeah,
zoomed out. So
right.
that when they tried to give us the bigger picture, that failed. And that's the first time I
Yeah,
can say that on this show. Like, that just didn't work whatsoever. You didn't have enough people filling the streets and being unruly and being angry, because they did it in Game of Thrones. They were able to pull that shot off then. They just
yeah.
weren't able to pull it off this time.
And this is the second time that Alicent and her daughter, what's her name again?
Helena?
Helena. Yeah, that they were been like out in public and shit went sideways. Like this is the second time in a row in the same season where stuff
Well,
just
and it's
like
a
ended
third
up.
time in general, because the other
Yeah,
time was when at the end of season 1, when they were standing in there crowning Aegon. And
right. That's right.
Rhaenyra bust through the wall, and she could have torched him and end this whole thing.
Yeah.
And well, she didn't, but we know.
Yeah, you're right. I wonder where this is going to go from here because it's not like I don't know. I mean, unless they get food somehow from the West or something, as far as stock, like I don't know because those people need food too. This is a kind of an untenable situation. I feel like for them, and I don't know how they're going to get out of it.
Well, you have the whole was it Orlin or whatever his name is, that Corliss is basically ordering to sail with him. Like, what's
Hmm.
that whole situation? Because he doesn't want to be there, and I think there's blood there. We just don't know it. Like, they're his kids, like,
Yeah.
bastards to somebody,
Right.
and he doesn't know it, and he doesn't. I get the feeling he has no idea.
Really?
I get that feeling
Well, no,
almost.
because I've had because his wife had a conversation with him like, "Hey, you need to raise them up, and they need to quit being bastards. And just you need to bring them into the fold." That was like the last conversation that she had with Corliss before she went off.
Okay,
So he knows.
maybe I missed it, 'cause I knew he had a conversation with them because he pulled him from the sea, saved them.
Yeah,
But I
a
didn't.
lot of there's a lot of things they're reluctant, right? So it's like, well, at least the older brother is. I don't know if he knows about the younger brother because so far Corliss has only spoken to the older brother, the one that actually pulled him out of the water.
Yeah,
The younger brother that was tapped by the dragon this episode, and that was kind of a shock, right? Like,
yeah. Seasmoke going after him. Well, I thought it was a different dragon to start with. I didn't think it was
yeah,
Seasmoke. I
yeah,
thought it was. We'll talk about what happened at the Vale as well, because that's pretty big too. And I think we got a rider at the Vale.
yeah. What? Yeah, there's some mysterious dragon stuff going on here, right? So, Rhaenyra, she tried to get her plan in action where she had a knight that she picked. She was like, "Hey, I did some studying and found out that you were kind of, your grandma's grandma was a Targaryen."
You got some blood in you that may
It's,
help you.
it's
I
like
thought it looked like it was
50%.
going well. I was like, no way, this isn't gonna work first try. Yeah, and it was Sir Stephen Drake, Drakeland or something like that. Yeah, trying to ride Sea
See,
Smoke.
was Seasmoke trolling him? Because
I don't.
Seasmoke even like I think he was trolling him because he even bent down like, "Hey, come on, get on the saddle." He was like putting his head down. He's like, "Come on!" And then as soon as he got close and he felt confident, he was like, "Whoops, here's some fire for you, Scarecrow." I think Seasmoke's kind of a bastard.
Just toying with him and torching
Yeah,
him. That's
yeah.
hilarious.
And then he rode off to the brother and scared the hell out of him. But I guess apparently let him
Well,
ride him.
apparently Seasmoke isn't um like opposed to just flying around. He'll leave and he'll just start soaring around and doing his own thing. So when
Yeah.
Rhaenyra found out that Seasmoke was flying around, she was like, no big deal. That's nothing new. But when he said he's got a rider, her eyes went woof. Who
Both of
who
them. Yeah.
who is this rider?
Her and Missaria, who were just in the middle of a little makeout
Yeah, they're a
session.
little bit of a
Little smoochies.
Yeah, I seen that. I'm like, oh boy, people are gonna be pissed off about that one. Honestly, that was my first thought. I was like, man, they're looking to piss somebody off this episode.
Not me. Give
Nah,
me I ship them. Give me 3 more scenes of that before the end of the season. If you know what I mean.
Oh boy. But what do you
Hey,
think of
look, Damon's not
Seasmoke?
there. Where the hell's Damon at? I tell you where he is.
He's
still
dreaming
at
about banging his
freaking
mother.
Harrenhal. He's at Harrenhal for the 6th episode in a row, not doing anything.
It's a good thing you missed that one.
No, I heard you. I heard you. He's banging his mama.
It's kept going.
Dream mama.
Oh man. But yeah,
Oh.
so
Well, this episode he was talking to Viserys. You know, it's like each week we get a little guest spot of somebody from the past.
So over that, and he was over it. He was done. He was leaving. He was bouncing. I mean, he was getting ready to leave, and that lady, whatever
Which
her name
lady?
is, I put her name down here. That stinks.
Where's it at though? You didn't bullet point
Allison
these
Rivers.
out? Oh, okay, yeah. Wait, is it Allison?
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
Alice.
it's Alice Rivers. Sorry.
Alice
Yeah,
Rivers. Yeah,
she talks him into staying. Something about like the winds are going to change in a couple of days. Hang around.
Yeah, which she knows because she is basically. It seems to be. We can infer that she's responsible for the old Tully, Grover Tully, finally kicking the bucket.
Yeah, because she went out there to lend a hand, and then he dies. So yeah,
right.
kind of.
But then, what's his reaction once he hears the news that Grover is dead? You'd figure he'd be happy because he can kind of move on, but he starts bawling his eyes out. Like,
well,
what was that reaction?
He's still emotionally having issues with that dream he was having when he went from like he was with Viserys in the throne room, and then he was there with him when Viserys' wife died after having hit the air for a day. I didn't even give him a name.
Right, that conversation.
So when he was there, because he wasn't there for him when it happened. Now he was there in his dream. So he's reliving all this, and he's reliving a bunch of mistakes that he's made over his years.
Right.
So I don't know how that's going to truly affect his, decision making or anything, down the line. But yeah, his reaction was like, he needs to get out of there. He needs to get on Caraxes and just leave.
Yeah, get out of there. And I didn't realize that him and this witch Alice Rivers has gotten so closely. They're talking like they've been friends for years by this point. So I don't know if that's.
Oh, I just think she doesn't fear him. Everyone else fears him.
Right.
She does not fear him. She'll talk to him as she wants. Because that was their first interaction too. When she was standing in her, I don't know, her kitchen or wherever it was when he barged in. She was just talking to him like he was some other dude, and she didn't give a damn who he was.
I guess I'm less surprised about that, and more surprised that Daemon just kind of rolls with it. Or, I mean, he treats her different than he treats everybody else he's surrounded by at Harrenhal.
But it could be the way she carries herself, and it's the way she speaks with him. She's not afraid of him, which I think he almost respects because everyone else kind of cowers.
Right.
And she hasn't, and I don't think she will.
Yeah. So that was disappointing for me that once again, I want to see a resolution to this whole Daemon at Harrenhal thing because he's a big player on the board, and for him to be absent, and I see the stress that it's causing, Rhaenyra and all the side over there. Like, it'd be one thing if I knew what he was doing and what he's up to, but he's been spinning his tires here for a bit where it's just like, well, you get on with it. And once again, we had the promise of somebody showing up and confronting him about it with the knight or,
he never made it.
And he didn't even make it this episode.
I forgot all about him riding there. Yeah, no, he didn't even make it. We'd seen nothing of him.
Yeah, so, that was disappointing. And once again, it just seemed like stretching a story out. Like you said at the beginning of this, like just stretch it out to see if. And when you've only got 8 episodes, like, do you really need to stretch it out? Like, you know what I mean?
That's what's got me concerned. It's like, is the source material starting to become thin, so they can have a massive, crazy season finale and season 3? Is that what they're trying? Are they trying to just stretch this out? Kind of like how they shortened the last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones. Are they at that point already in this? And that's what I'm kind of worried about because we have to have the big battles. There's got to be a lot coming. We know Vermithor is at is there. And I think that guy Hugh, they keep showing us, the guy with the long
Right.
hair, I think he's gonna be the rider of Vermithor. We have
Mhm.
Seasmoke now. I think he's gonna fly with Rhaenyra.
Mhm.
And then whatever that dragon is at the Vale, we're gonna have that one as well, and that's gonna be her daughter-in-law's dragon.
Yeah, we didn't even touch on that. Do you think it's already got a rider?
No, it's a wild ride. It's a wild dragon. They
Okay.
flat out said it's wild. There's no rider. There may not even be like a saddle or anything on this dragon.
Do you think the lady that's kind of the river run lady that's talking to her and kind of keeping her there, is she in control of this dragon somehow, or she doesn't have any power
I don't think she
over it?
has any power over it all. It's just there, and it's
Yeah.
one of those because she mentions how like it's just flying around. It's just a wild dragon.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think it's going to get a rider, and all these names are the same. Lady Rhaenyra, whatever. It's
Yeah.
they're all
Raina.
similar.
Yeah.
She's going to get her dragon, and she's going to
Right.
do it on her own. She's not going to be like they're not going to put her in front of another dragon on Dragonstone. She's
Yeah.
going to do it. It's going to happen in the wild, just like how Seasmoke found his rider in the wild.
Right. Yeah. That's what I want to see come together. And I don't know. So far, the writing has been really good on not only this season but last season of House of Dragon. And to have such jam-packed first, like, 3 episodes and then have such kind of a thin lull, like, in the middle to
Yeah,
ramp up to a finale, which is probably gonna be pretty good. I think it's just, like, a pacing issue. Like, why not save some of that stuff that was jumbled up in the beginning and
kind of
stretch that out a little
stretch that
further?
good stuff out just a little bit further because they were given a setup and resolution, setup, resolution, setup, resolution.
Right.
I don't feel like we've been set up for anything now. Like I don't know what the penultimate episode is going to be like. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what we're going towards anymore. We thought we
Yeah.
were going to have a battle at Harrenhal. I don't know if that's where the battle is going to take place now. It makes sense because that's where you have the Lannisters going. You have Caraxes and Daemon there. You have the Wild Dragon, the Vale, which wouldn't be far away. You have Seasmoke, that's not far away. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of players very close to that
Right.
location. But
That's what I'm hoping for, is that all of this, peace movement in the last 2 episodes is because we are ramping up to one hell of a finale. That's what my hope is. But then at the same time, it's 50-50. It could easily just be like, well, we're not gonna get this big finale that we think we're gonna get, and they're gonna save more of the story for a season 3, you know?
how would you feel about a sea battle, like a naval battle?
Oh, that'd be interesting, yeah.
Because we haven't seen anything down those lines, really. I
With
mean, we've seen the
Corliss's
Battle of
fleet.
Blackwater. Yeah.
And then you could even bring in, because they mentioned the Ironborn,
Yeah.
um, and they could be even in the mix because they're like not involved just yet. But if the stuff starts happening out on the sea, I mean, I could see them pulling up.
They have to be involved in some manner. They can't do
Yeah,
I would think they wouldn't sit back. They always had looked out for what's in their best interest. And if it was their best interest to
right.
get involved on a side that they think is going to win, that's
Yeah,
the way that they would handle that. Um, but
trying to
I
think of anything
that
else in this episode
that's
here.
almost what I would think that would have to happen next season because they're not setting a
Yeah,
naval battle up. But it'd
right.
be cool to see. I would have all the trust in the world based on what they've shown us battles wise. That would be a cool, almost like a 300, the rise of 300 or something like that. That one there when they showed the naval battle. I would love to see something like that.
Yeah, that would be super cool. So this episode ends with Rhaenyra kind of flying out on her dragon, which is kind of big. She hasn't really been able to do that here recently, but she's kind of like, I think she's inspired by Mysaria a little bit, where she's like, "F it, I'm gonna do what I
Do
want to
what I
do."
want to when I want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she rides out, I guess, to go meet Seasmoke on her, and
Yep.
basically, and I was kind of pissed. Honestly, I was kind of pissed when the credits rolled right after that because I felt like the episode was just starting to like ramp up.
It was picking up. Yeah.
Yeah, after like an entire episode of just like kind of like, okay,
Well, it
okay,
was
what are we
nothing,
doing
nothing,
here?
nothing. Then dude was getting chased around the island by a dragon.
Yeah,
I mean, he
and
was running
Seasmoke's
for
got
his
a
life. Could
rider,
you imagine your heart rate? I would be shitting my pants.
right?
I mean, he was diving for trees. He was looking for cover, and Seasmoke was like, "Nope, I'm smarter than you." Just drops down, looks at
There
him.
was even there was a dragon jump scare when he was staring at a seagull or something. All of a sudden, the dragon came into frame. Oh, it was funny.
Yeah,
Um,
that was pretty cool. Like you said, that happened, and then the Rhaenyra stuff happened, and it's
yeah.
like you're right. It was cranking it up, and then it shut off.
Yes, yes, yes. But yeah, that's gonna be it, I think, for this week. I don't really think there was too much more else besides, the stuff with Viserys. It was nice to see that character again, and that actor Patty Constantine played the character
Yeah, I like
for
the
the little
little
bit that he did.
callbacks to the
Yeah.
characters that we've seen this
Um,
season.
and do you think Damon is kind of being broken down a little bit? Because every time he has one of these dream sessions, he seems to be a little bit more spooked about it. Do you think it's wearing him down?
It's messing with him. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's really, really messing with him, and I think
yeah.
it's gonna bring him back to Rhaenyra. It really
You
is.
think so?
I really
After all
think it's gonna
this,
bring it back to her, man, back to her side, and be like,
okay.
you are the true heir. You were named by my brother.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be with you. And get back to what this whole thing was about. It was about getting her on the throne, not
right.
him taking King's Landing and then her joining him,
Yeah,
because that's what it became when he went to Harrenhal.
yeah. And if that's the case, then it almost feels like maybe season two is just sort of a. It really does feel like kind of a middle section where you've got kind of a filling and a bridging of gaps between an introduction and start of a war and then an end of a war. And in the middle, there's just kind of the middle where, you have a bit of a character arc with Damon and everybody's just kind of waiting around.
All the pawns are getting put in place and
All the
other
riders are
pieces.
finding their dragons. Yeah. So it's, that's maybe at the end of the day, maybe that's what the season two will be about. Look, we still love the show. We're going to be back here next week to talk about the penultimate episode of season two, House of the Dragon. And a couple of snooze fests as far as this show goes, but even a boring episode of House of the Dragon
I still
still,
wait to watch it. I love.
yeah,
I mean,
still very watchable.
yeah, no, when it comes back on, it's like, I'm loving. I'm loving being in the world, the
Yeah,
histories. I love how they're diving into like other Targaryen, the bloodline that may be able to ride a dragon. I think that's cool
yeah,
to see. Just seeing the dragons alone, that's cool. The world and just all the above. So I'm enjoying it. Like you said though, it just these two episodes, a little bit of a,
a little bit of a slog. Yeah.
but
We'll be back next week to talk about more House of the Dragon episode 7.
we're gonna do our damnedest to be on Tuesday. I promise.
Yeah, right. I don't believe you.
I don't
Something
believe
will
it
pop
anymore.
up in the next week. But yeah, I guess until then, what does Chris say?
I always pay my debts.
See you.